Welcome to today's Virginia 500 here at the Martinsville Speedway. This is our second short track race of the season. Our first one was back at Bristol, and this track's gonna be a little bit different. It's more of a flat track than Bristol, less banking, and should be about as equally as insane as Bristol was. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll take a look at the point standings today because it's probably gonna get shaken up a lot by the end of today. So going into today, Ryan Newman holds the point lead ahead of Ricky Rudd in second and Zachary in third. And we have some contenders going up through the field. And we have last week's winner, Greg Biffle, who jumped up to 27th. And he became another first-time winner of the season, joining Zachary and Jamie McMurray for the season. So that was pretty cool. But let's go on ahead and jump to the starting lineup for the start of today's race. So to kick off this starting lineup for today's race, we have Zachary Smithley, who wins his second career pole of the season, and Dale Jr. to his outside. Row 2, it is Jeff Green and Tony Stewart. Row 3 is Terry Labonte and Kevin Harvick. Row 4 is Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon. Row 5 is Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jarrett. Row 16 is Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman. Row 7 is Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin. Row 8, Jamie McMurray and Bobby Labonte. Row 9, Ricky Rudd and Tony Raines. Row 10 is Michael Waltrip and Johnny Benson. Row 11 today, Jeff Byrne and Mike Wallace, who makes his first start since the 500. Row 12, Rusty Wallace and Jerry Nadeau. Row 13, Jeremy Mayfield and Dave Blaney. Row 14, Elliott Sadler and Mark Martin. Row 15, John Andretti and last race winner, Greg Biffle. Row 16, Jamie Spencer, Ken Schrader. Row 17, Steve Park and Kenny Wallace. Row 18 is Todd Bodine and Joe Nemechek. Row 19 is Kyle Petty and Mike Skinner. Row 20 is Ward Burton and Larry Foyt. Row 21, Casey Mears and Ricky Craven. And right out the field of row 22, making his first start of the season, is Derek Cope. Now we have the D&Q list for today, which are Jack Sprague, Brett Bodine, Robbie Gordon, Christian Fittipaldi, Bobby Hamilton Jr., David Green, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Kerry Earnhardt. And then we have our little track information for today. The pit window should be around lap 66 to 79. Tires will be around lap 75 to 79. Fuel 66 to 72. There'll be some beating and banging. And will we have a new race winner today? Well, we're going to find out. But let's send it up to Larry Mack and DW to lead us to the green flag, shall we?
DW, I was serious yesterday. Please pull those belt tights. This is twice the length of the race yesterday. Boogity, 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 boys. Take her down in that first turn.
And off turn 4 down the front straightaway, Zachary Smithley will lead the first lap here at Martinsville. As we head a little bit towards the back of the pack, a lot of these drivers kind of slipping up the track. Sterling Marlin is all the way up on the outside. He makes a little bit of contact with Bobby Labonte. Already got some beating and banging going on so far. We're only a lap in. You see, Tony, he did the exact same thing. He went all the way to the outside, and it's pretty slippery out there, but also the outside line is not really the preferred line. These drivers do got to pay attention to what they're doing. As back up at the front, Zachary, who had a really good car in practice. He said his car was really, really good in practice. Put it on pole, and he has led the first 2 laps. Now going to lead the first 3 laps as we look further back to Terry Labonte, who has a top 5 run going, and his first top 5 run going for him since Darlington a few races ago. And Matt Kenseth is looking to maybe use this race as a propeller into the championship fight once again, as he's been kind of slipping as of late since Vegas. So he's definitely in need for a good run today. He's going to try the outside, it seems like, on Terry pretty early on. And Terry's going to hold it, but he's got his teammate Jimmy Johnson right behind him in the 48 to go on ahead and help him out a little bit. Kansas Roush teammate Kurt Busch is fighting off the Joe Gibbs driver of Tony Stewart. And they have Bill Elliott behind them too. And Kenseth, he can get a nice run off the outside, but going into the corner, Terry just can roll around the bottom oh so nicely, so he can get in the middle of the corner and get a better run off. But Kenseth was able to carry the momentum on the outside. Is he going to be able to clear him down the front straightaway? Maybe get to the inside? Not quite. Needed a little bit more Needed a little bit more of a run to get to that bottom. Get right in front of Terry to grab that 4th position. And he's clear of him. Will he cut him off? It doesn't look like he's going to cut him off at all. We'll continue to race him clean, and he'll grab 4th position off of Terry Labonte in the 5. Who's now got his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48 to deal with. Tony looking to get around the outside of Bill Elliott. Drivers are kind of utilizing the outside line, which is pretty interesting. Got Jeff Greenwether doing pretty good, keeping a 3rd place. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who finished last at Talladega after being caught up in the wreck in 2nd. And Zachary, who came oh so close to winning at Talladega. He said going into this race, he's looking for some redemption. He was so disappointed in himself. He was hard on himself at the end of the Talladega race. A lot of drivers in the garage area told him that there's no need to be hard on himself. A lot of NASCAR fans especially, and fans of his, told him, don't be so hard on yourself. You'll get that 2nd career win. But to Zach, it wasn't even about the fact that he can get a 2nd career win. He just wanted to win 2 years on from his grandmother's passing, and he failed to do it in his eyes. And here today, he is looking for some redemption. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. is looking to be the guy to fend off, because Jeff Green has kind of fallen back a little bit. Not by much, but he's fallen back a little bit. But Jeff Green's in need of a good run. He ended up getting a top 10 last time out at Talladega, so he's looking to carry that momentum as he's trying to find his way back inside the top 10 in the points. And obviously, we talked about Matt Kenseth before, where he's trying to march his way back into the championship fight. As going into this race, he sits 8th in the championship. So he's looking for a good run, as Terry now, he's got both Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart on him. Maybe just Tony, because look at Jimmy. Dirt tracking it up on the outside. He'll lose 6th position to Tony. He'll fall down to 7th. Won't lose too much time, though, but the fight with Tony looked to be pretty easy for Tony. Did you see 8th place is Bill Elliott, and 9th place the battle between Ricky Road, who's 2nd in the championship, and Kurt Busch, who sits in 9th in the championship. He slides up the track a little bit. That's just going to give 9th to Rudd. He'll fall back down to 10th. Got McMurray in the 42 behind in 11th. Jeff Burton in 12th. Jeff Gordon in 13th. Michael Waltrip having a bit of a slugger right so far. He sits 10th in the championship, and right now he's fighting Rusty Wallace for 15th, as Marlin's in 14th, and Rusty and Mikey fighting it out for 15th. In recent weeks, it has been Michael Waltrip being the better DEI car, so he's looking to maybe continue to carry that momentum, as you see Dale Jarrett going all the way up the racetrack, giving up 17th. No, it was 16th. Giving up 16th to Kevin Harvick, and the point leader Ryan Newman all the way down in 18th, trying to take 17th away from Dale Jarrett. Jarrett will hold it. And you got Bobby Labonte in the 18 back there behind him, trying to also get in this fight as well. Did you see Ryan Newman right around the inside and grabbing 17th off of Dale Jarrett? Jarrett might try to fight it back a little bit, but it might not be enough for him to get it. You saw Michael Waltrip and Jeff Burton going at it. Looks like Kevin Harvick is trying to go at it on Jeff Burton. It looks like he's going to. But Ryan Newman so far not doing too well, and if he finishes where he's at, and if Zachary ends up winning this race with where Newman finishes, Zachary could take the point lead off of Newman for the first time since Vegas. But Newman's been the car to beat all season. Don't ever count Newman out. You count Newman out, you're sorely mistaken. You see rookie Tony Raines having a pretty good race so far, as he's just inside the top 20, ahead of Bobby Labonte in the 18. He is utilizing that second line, not going all the way to the outside, but utilizing that second line to the best of his ability. And Steve Park, a little bit to talk about Steve Park. There's been talks going around that Steve Park is kind of on the nice edge of not being a DEI here soon. And Steve Park's needed to put in some good performances, and even though he's had flashes of good performances like Atlanta, it's not consistent. And with the races that Steve Park has had this season, Atlanta really has only been his best track. But Steve Park has continuously been outshined by his teammates, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and especially Michael Waltrip. And so far, Michael Waltrip is on the run of a lifetime, so we'll see in a couple weeks' time if Steve Park will stay at the team. We look further back to Greg Biffle in the 16. He won last time out at Talladega and Just hasn't had the car really to get around traffic. He's kind of tight on entry. Able to get it off. Able to have a nice smooth run off exit, but just not enough. There you see Mike Wallace, whose car unfortunately didn't load in. But this is his second race. His first was the Daytona 500 back in February, of all things. And right now, he is not running too well, but he's in front of a Hendrick car and Joe Nemechek. See Larry Foyt, Mike Skinner, Craven, Mears. There you see Zachary lapping Dave Blaney and Kenny Wallace. Here's soon to be Johnny Benson in the 10. Derek Cope is back there, and he ended up getting lapped before, too. Zachary really hasn't been able to shake off Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. Dale's been kind of being able to follow Zach without issue, but Zach is managing his tires. Seems to be the name of the game for Zach. Is back at Bristol, he didn't really manage his tires as well. And they fell off right around this time, is the thing. Zach is just able to manage the lead. And he's led all 24 laps so far. But as per usual, he's got to pay attention to the guys behind him, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. And Matt Kenseth now is taking third away from Jeff Green. So he's now third. Dale Jr., he actually got caught up behind the lap traffic, as Zach has actually been able to lap Casey Mears pretty quick. Dale Jr. has just now gotten around Ricky Craven. You see Zach, he gets a really good run off the corners, and he's able to nice and neatly dive into the corner. He's racing like he's a veteran right now. He's racing like he's know what he's doing. As now there are 2 lap cars in between Zachary and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here to soon be 3 with Zachary's Rookie of the Year contender and Larry Foyt. Here soon we'll have a Rookie of the Year standings at some point. Just got to get around to making that and seeing who's who and who's where and whatnot. Zachary continues to lead Dale Jr. going to the inside of Casey Mears. Here's Matt Kenseth, who's behind Ricky Craven and Kenny Wallace. Because he's stuck behind these two, Jeff Green's been able to get around Derek Cope pretty easily. He's going to be able to try to get to the back Kenseth. The Kenseth was going to, it looked like he was going to make it 3 wide, but not really a gap was open there. Jeff Green kind of slid. He kind of cut the marbles up there on the outside. And Kenseth, he's not able to make any sort of progress. He's got to hope that Kenny and Craven can sort this out so he can just pass at least one of them. Which it looks like not really. Seems like Kenny and Ricky Craven are still going to have this battle in front of Matt Kenseth, which is also hurting Kenseth. Because Kenseth knows he has a fast enough car to go catch Dale Jr. and Zach, but the more he's caught behind these two, the more it slows him down. So now he gets around Craven. Green's just going to follow him through. In 4th, Tony in 5th with Jimmy Johnson in 6th. And then Terry back there in 7th. Tony has had a pretty decent season so far, but as a defending champion, it's definitely not the season that you would expect out of a defending Winston Cup champion. You got Kurt in 8th, Rudd in 9th, and Jeff Gordon. I was at the top 10, so 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars are running inside the top 10 with Jeff Gordon's own car leading the race. You see Ryan Newman going for 13th on Bill Elliott in the 9, who's had a pretty good season as well. He has remained inside the top 5 in the points, which is really, really good for Bill. Kind of slides him to the track a little bit. Harvick kind of got a little bit close to force Bill up the track a little bit more, and that's going to allow Harvick to clear him for 14th. Ellie will fall down to 15th, and Michael Waltrip might try to get close enough to get in this fight. You see the battle for 7th between Kurt Busch and Terry Labonte. Rudd's just going to follow Kurt on through past Terry, because Terry's up on the outside, kind of sliding all over the place. And Kurt got around him, but Rudd is still side by side, still fighting him for 8th. Terry trying to keep her going. You can kind of see his car wiggling a little bit in 3 and 4. As it looks like Rudd is going to take the position away from Terry. Here comes Jeff Gordon in the 24. His teammate. Will Terry make it easy on Jeff, or is he going to make it a little bit difficult on Jeff? As you see Rudd actually going to the outside because of the battle that Kurt is having with Derek Cope, trying to get around the lap car. And Kurt does get around him. Here comes Terry back on Rudd, making it 3 wide between him, Rudd, and Cope. It seems like he kind of backed out of it, knowing that it wasn't really going to work. Gordon trying to take advantage of it a little bit, but he gets a little bit high in the corner. Kind of slid a little bit. Going to be stuck behind Derek Cope on this outside, though, and that's going to allow Terry to live to see another day, fight to see another day. We got Marlin coming up behind him as well. Got a crate. This is a log jam up here, as Casey Mears actually slid up the track and caught Tony off guard. Tony had to get out of the throttle, and that's going to allow Johnson around him for 5th. Jeff Green in the 30s trying to make his way through the lap traffic as he's to the inside of Skinner in the 4. These lap cars are definitely not making it easier on any of these guys, back here. Even Dale Jr. is having difficulties getting around Andretti, but Zachary, he's been able to pass them. Look at him. He's just passing Mark Martin. He's passing them like they're standing still. As right now there are 5 cars in between, 5 lappers in between Zachary and Dale Jr. Zach kind of went up the track a little bit. He may have went into the corner a little too high. But it's all right. He's all good. And Zachary continues to maintain the lead, putting Mark Martin a lap down. He's going to go march after Elliott Sadler now. As yep, there are 5 cars in between Zachary and Dale Jr. Zachary trying to make it 6 with Elliott Sadler. But also Ward Burton ahead, who is running the inside, is kind of making it a little bit difficult for Zach to put Elliott Sadler a lap down. Maybe not too difficult, as there goes Zach. Slowly getting out ahead of Elliott Sadler. And there you see Dale Jr. back there in the 8. He's got to go through Mike Wallace, Kyle Petty, Joe Nemechek, Jerry Nadeau, Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, Ward Burton now after Zachary just put him a lap down. So now he put 2 more cars a lap down. And Dale Jr. got to go through 7 of them. And Dale Jr. he'll pass Joe Nemechek. So that's 1 car now and 6 more left. But if the pace that Zachary's going, Zach might actually be able to put more behind him, as now we actually see Johnson's now in 4th, Tony's now in 5th, and Jeff Green has fallen down to 6th. And he's still stuck behind Dave Blaney, as Johnson and Tony have been able to get around him pretty easily, as now they're going after Johnny Benson, who's gone up the track a little bit. It's going to allow Johnson to sneak on through and set his sights on Larry Foyt, try to put another car between him and Tony, even though Tony is on the inside of Johnny Benson. Here comes Kurt Busch in the 97. Ricky Rudd in the 21 trying to go after Ricky Craven. Jeff Gordon is now in 9th, as Sterling Marlin's hit the top 10. Terry Labonte stuck up on the outside behind Kenny Wallace. He just got passed for 11th by Ryan Newman. And now Jamie McMurray and Kevin Harvick are to get into this fight, as they might try to take 12th off of Terry Labonte, but Terry goes to the inside of Kenny Wallace, and it seems like he's going to be able to clear him going into the corner, and he will. But right now, Ryan Newman didn't have a great race start. He's slowly making his way through the field. He is in the 12th position, or in the 11th position, excuse me. There's a top 10 right in front of him, and Sterling Marlin in the 40. As right now, once Zach comes around for the second, here sometime soon, there will be 80 laps to go for car number 80. And there it is, 80 laps to go here at Martinsville. Jeff Green's actually been able to maintain his position and maintain his pace on Tony, as Tony's trying to get around Larry Foyt now, as Johnson got around Ken Schrader. So Johnson's able to keep a car in between him and Tony. Tony trying to get a car in between him and Green, which it looks like he's going to do that too. But Jeff Green's going to make light, easy work of Larry Foyt, it looks like. Now there's no cars actually in between Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson, but Kenseth's been doing pretty good, so I don't see that gap closing anytime soon. Did you see Zachary put Greg Biffle a lap down? Zachary was disappointed last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. And the way that he raised Greg Biffle at the end, he said that it looked like he may have tried to wreck him, but he wasn't trying to wreck him. He tried side drafted him. He just got way too close, hooked the rear of the 16. And Zachary said that he was glad that it only took him out and Biffle went on to win, because Zach would not have liked the way that he would have won that race had he dumped Greg Biffle last time out at Talladega. And Biffle and Zach, they did have a heart-to-heart, Zach did apologize to Biffle, even in victory lane back at Talladega, and he even apologized to him again today. Zach says there may never not be a day where him and Greg Biffle see each other that he's not going to apologize for the way that he raced him at the end of Talladega. The great news is that Greg Biffle and Zach, although rookie of the year contenders, they had a heart-to-heart, and Biffle had no ill intent. He knew that Zach had no ill intent to wreck him, and they made it up. That's what matters most. It's nice having rookies that have respect for each other, and just drivers in general having respect for each other. As now we look ahead to Zachary, who's about to put Steve Park a lap down, who right now Steve Park is actually getting passed by Tony Raines in the 74. And one of the other things, too, is with Robbie Gordon missing this race, RCR was mentioning there's a possibility that they might actually replace one of their drivers, or a driver this season, if they continue to perform poorly, and so far that's been Robbie Gordon. So if Steve Park was to get booted out of the 1, he might go to the 31. Whether it's halfway through the season this season or beginning of next season, who knows? But so far, Zach in the 80, he ended up just putting Steve Park a lap down to the 1. That is definitely interesting, safe to say. Now we look a little bit farther back to Z Park's teammate Dale Jr., who has gotten around top of 9. And there's a lot of cars in between him and Matt Kenseth, Kenseth has been able to put 2 drivers in between him and Johnson. Tony's still there. Kurt Busch ended up passing Jeff Green for the 5th position. Excuse me, the 6th position. And now looking further back, you see Ryan Newman in the 12 has gotten around Jeff Gordon, getting around the lap traffic, and now Newman can set his sights on 2nd place in the championship. His closest competitor, Ricky Rudd, because his other closest competitor, Zachary, is just dominating this race, leading all 54 laps so far today. And it's getting pretty crazy. You see Terry and Kevin Harvick, they're making their way through the field as well. There's some other drivers back there that are kind of having troubles with the lap traffic. Terry's just looking for a really good run. He's right now on the cusp of being outside the top 35 and having to race his way in. And if you're an injured driver, that's not what you want. You don't want to be right on the edge of that top 35 in points. You see Zach in the 80 continuing his dominant run today, as he ended up getting around Tony Raines as well. And Zach's just doing a really good job. As a matter of fact, we're being told that he's saving enough fuel and saving enough tires, yet all the other drivers around him are actually not saving enough fuel. And one of the main things is because Zachary isn't actually shifting in the corner. Because Zachary's able to roll through the corner pretty dang well, and he just doesn't need to shift at all. But all the other drivers, they're shifting midway through the corner and having to shift back up down the straightaway. You see Bobby Labonte going in on the inside of Rusty Wallace in front of Zach. They'll make quick and easy work of him. Zachary's just catching these drivers with a full head of steam. Rusty all the way on the outside. He just doesn't want, you don't want to get out of that light gray area, because you go any higher than that, you're going to hit the marbles and start sliding up the racetrack, and that's not what you want. And Rusty pretty much almost just did it right there, but he went right back down and kept her going. So now Zach sets his sights after Bobby Labonte and Rusty's brother Kenny. Ooh, a little bit close off the corner. Zachary not wanting to hit Bobby at all. They don't make contact, so that's good. Just look at Zach rolling that bottom. Rolling the bottom like he's done it before. But he puts Bobby Labonte a lap down, and now he can go after Kenny Wallace in the 23, who he thought he was actually going to be competing with more this season, but he's actually been lapping him more so far this season. You see Dale Jr. has been able to get around Mark Martin and Elliott Sadler. He's just setting his sights after Mike Wallace in the 09. Or, excuse me, Derek Cope in the 37. They both have the trading paint scheme. It's difficult to tell. But Dale Jr. right now, he's been able to put on a really good showing. Being able to put these cars a lap down. I mean, Zachary's already put him a lap down, but Dale Jr. able to put these lap cars behind him and keep on sailing forward. But Zachary, he just put 3 more cars ahead of him a lap down, and here soon he's about to put Jeff Burton a lap down. Jeff Burton so far this season, ever since Darlington, it's been a little bit rocky for Jeff Burton, and hasn't been the best spring for Jeff Burton. You see some angles here and going into the corner. Zachary getting Jeff Burton a lap down. You can actually hear the driver shifting down and going into the corner as Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually peels into the pits. So Dale Jr. actually pulled into the pits. We forgot to mention that it was around at that time for these drivers to start making pit stops. So Jr. is in, Matt Kenseth is in. Looks like Ward Burton in the 22 back there is in. Johnson, Kurt Busch are in. Tony Stewart and Jeff Green stayed out. Jeff Gordon came in with Kevin Harvick and Dale Jarrett. There's Zach in the 80. He's actually going to put Dale Jr. a lap down, who was running second to him. As a matter of fact, he's going to put Bill Elliott a lap down in the 9. He's got to be very, very careful because these drivers are going to be making their pit stops. Like Jamie McMurray and Terry Labonte doesn't want to run to the back of them. You see Jeff Green and Tony Stewart have come in. Mark Martin and Jimmy Spencer have come in. That was a little bit of too quick of a stop for Jimmy Spencer. I'm not sure if they were doing fuel only, that may not have been enough. They might need to put more in. See the drivers coming out of the pits. Drivers that are trying to make their pit stop and drivers coming out of the pits. That's going to be terrifying. Marlin and Waltrip come into the pits. And Zachary continues to stay out. There's Kyle Petty in the 45 on pit road. McMurray, Labonte, Bobby Labonte. If there's anybody else, there's Terry. He's coming out of the pits. There's Jeff Green coming out of the pits. And oh, that was a little bit close between Zach and Jeff Green. You see Ken Schrader's on pit road too. So Zachary, who hasn't really been pushing his car so much, he hasn't really found the need to make a pit stop here soon. There is one driver that hasn't pit though, and that is Ricky Rudd in the 21. And if Zachary actually, as you see, Bill Elliott, Jeff Burton, Ricky Craven, and Rusty Wallace come onto the pits, we're going to try to find Ricky Rudd in the 21 because he's the only driver that hasn't pit alongside Zach. Oh, a little checkup between Nemechek and Elliott. Elliott Saller safe to be safe. You saw Newman and Rudd back there. There's Zach. Larry Foyt's come in. Right now, Zach, he might not want to fight the 30, but also Jeff Green is kind of behind Mike Skinner in the 4. As you saw, there's Bill Elliott on pit road with a few others like Johnny Benson in the 10. Looks to be Mike Wallace in the 09. We're getting some different camera angles. Never seen these before, or some of them at least. Nemechek was just on pit road. There's Newman on pit road. Oh, a little close between Zach and Jimmy Johnson. Holy cow. That was a little bit close. They may have made a little bit of contact coming off the corner. Johnson just showing a little bit of displeasure with Zach right there, it seems like, with how close Zach tried cutting him off. Zach probably didn't mean to do that. Might be another driver that Zachary might have to apologize at the end of today's race. If he wants to do it, that's the main thing. But Zach ends up putting Newman, what looks to be 2 laps down now. Zachary just continuing out there. So yeah, third place is right now is Ricky Rudd. And then Steve Park is in 3rd. We don't know who's in 4th, but we know Tom Bodine is in 5th, and those drivers still haven't pit yet. So speaking of Steve Park, if a caution comes out now, and he's able, and all these drivers are a lap down, these drivers can pit, and they can still have these drivers trapped a lap down. And Steve Park could go on to have a good finish today. As you see, there's the 21 of Ricky Rudd, who is 2nd. We didn't see Steve Park or Tom Bodine. Is that Ricky Rudd coming into the pits? It looks like it is. Rudd is in. So now that means, actually, because we didn't see the other drivers ahead of or in front of Zach, right there, all drivers are now a lap down. So Zachary Smithley has put every single driver in the field 1 lap down, and he is still out there. Zachary's saying he doesn't need to pit. He's not using up a lot of fuel. He's not using up his tires a whole lot. He's able to keep it rolling around the bottom. As here comes Zach once again. Putting Ricky Rudd another lap down. As there are 3 wide behind him between the 2 Hendrick teammates of Nemechek and Gorn and Derek Cope. They make quick and easy work of that. Here comes Terry in the 5. Ooh, man, they're side by side. Gorn goes with the track a little bit. So Nemechek will clear Gordon. They're still right behind race leader Zach, who still hasn't pitted. Quite shocking, safe to say, if Zach not needed a pit. And right now, he's got 3 Hendrick teammates, or Hendrick buddies, Hendrick affiliate teammates behind him. Those being Joe Nemechek, Jeff Gordon, and Jimmy Johnson. His other Hendrick affiliate teammate, Jimmy Johnson, kind of gave him a little tap when he raced him the way that he did going into turn 1. So they may not, those two may not be happy with each other, especially Johnson. Because now we know who's in second. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Tony Stewart in third. Go a little bit farther back. Some of these drivers. There's Rudd in 21. We're going to go all the way back to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's just now coming off the corner in the 8. Running in second. There's Tony in the 20. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17. Kurt Busch in the 97. Johnson, Jeff Green, and then Zach. Still out there leading. Has led all 80 laps. He's now got team boss Jeff Gordon behind him. We can say this, though. Zachary definitely cannot make it to the end of the race on the strategy that he's doing. He may have enough tires to make it to the end, but the main thing to ponder at here is mainly his fuel. His tires, he may not need more. He may not need fresh tires. But the main thing that Zachary might need is a caution, because he's got the entire field 1 lap down. And a caution would do him wonders. Because that would mean that the lappers, they would start ahead of Zach and get their lap back if Zach were to pit. However, it would pose a problem to them because Zach would have the fresher tires. But Zach, it doesn't have a need to pit. And especially when he's got his 3 Hendrick affiliate teammates right behind him, he's all good. He's all safe. He doesn't have to worry about nothing. He can just keep on going the way that he's going. He's just slowly etching his way into these corners. Not pushing the car, not doing anything too crazy. And Zach's just maintaining the lead. He's maintaining the position over Jeff Gordon in the 24, even though Jeff isn't for position. It's still safe to say that Jeff Gordon might want to get around Zach to maybe get his lap back, but Zachary's just kind of taking it easy and not pushing the car as much, as now we're in the final 40 laps of the race. 40 laps to go here at Martinsville. Zachary now, with these drivers' tires actually wearing out a little bit, Zachary's actually caught Kyle Petty in the 45, which has allowed Zach to get to the inside of him, and he's going to try to clear him going into 1. Looks like he's going to make quite easy work of the 45, and he's going to. Jeff Gordon's just going to follow him on through. See a little bit ahead, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Green. There's the Roush teammates, Tony Stewart. A little bit farther ahead with Steve Park there, and there's Dale Jr. in the 8, passing Mike Skinner. He's 1 lap down in second. And you got the 2 trading paint cars, trying to figure out which one is which. Zachary, he's getting around the top of 9 now. Zachary is mentioning about pitting. He's maybe thinking about pitting with around maybe 20 or 15 laps to go if he can make it that far, which Zachary's crew chief is saying that he can. And Zachary just needs to continue doing what he's been doing. And in all honesty, Zachary, if he keeps doing it, he'll make it to the end. There won't be a problem. Because right now he's just going to jump to the inside of Ward Burton in the 22. Put him a lap down, or put him another lap down. Jeff Gordon's doing a nice job following him on through, as is Terry Labonte and Joe Nemechek. Nemechek's kind of getting a little caught up behind these drivers. But he's doing good nonetheless. Ooh, Zach went a little bit high in 3 and 4. A little bit loose for him, too. Tires are definitely going away on him. It's one of those things you just got to pay attention for, is now you see Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte have caught him. No Joe Nemechek or anything. Nemechek's actually behind Ward Byrne and Todd Bodine. But Zachary is able to still do good. He's still going. He's still trucking. But pitting sometime soon is going to be the name of the game for Zach. It all just kind of depends, really, on how everything kind of goes for him. Zach does have some clean racetrack ahead of him. And the caution is out. The caution is out at Martinsville. This actually changes everything, and this is exactly what Zach wanted. Trying to go up to the front, see what happened. Mike Skinner and Dale Jarrett are actually slow. Oh, Marlon's got some damage, so Marlon looks like he may have got caught up in the wreck. We're going ahead and get a replay of what ended up happening. Here's the replay. Looks to be between Waltrip and Labonte? Oh, nope, it's between Labonte and Cope. Oh, wow. So it looks like Labonte was getting a little bit frustrated being behind Derek Cope and got into him and they spun. It's right on board with Derek Cope. He's on the outside of Michael Waltrip, not really doing a whole lot. Goes up the track. There's contact into the wall, and he hooked him. He couldn't really combat that or anything. The minute you hit the wall, your car kind of just goes down the track. He caught Labonte. See what will happen to Labonte that got him up the track. He continues to run the middle line. There's the contact. Oh, wow. Wow. I can't tell if Labonte actually went up the track and made contact with Derek Cope, but the fact that he ended up hitting him or whatnot, he may not have liked it. See, from Marlon's perspective of what happened, maybe we'll get a better understanding. Labonte's just following Derek Cope on through. Yeah, it looks like Labonte just straight up... Oh my gosh, he straight up just turned right. Then Marlon caught a piece of it. And more with Michael Waltrip, who was in front of all of this. He definitely dodged a bullet with not being involved in it. Yeah, Labonte looked like he just went straight up into Derek Cope just to voice his displeasure, and well, that didn't work. As now we see Zachary, as a matter of fact, on pit road, taking advantage of this caution. And the thing is Zachary isn't going to lose the lead. He has everybody one lap down. There you see Dale Jr. He's gonna get one lap back, so he's back on the lead lap. As is Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Green. And those are the only drivers that were one lap down. The rest of them were 2 down. As Jeff Gordon, Zachary's boss, is now the main car, leading the cars 2 laps down or more. As there you see Dale Jr., who will restart this race in second. And then Tony Stewart will restart third. There you see Zach in fourth. Or not in fourth, in first. Completely somehow forgot that Zachary was leading the race, even though he hasn't lost the lead since the race began. But this is going to change everything. This changes everything. So now these drivers that are now on the lead lap, they have to go all the way around the racetrack to try to catch Zach if he's still stuck behind the lap cars. Now the pace car lights are off. Lappers on the inside, lead lap cars on the outside. Here comes Dale Jr. in the 8, being the first one. And here soon we'll see the rest. So there's Dale Jr. up on the outside. There's Tony. There's Kenseth. 3rd and 4th. And you got Kurt Busch in 5th, Johnson 6th, and Jeff Green in 7th. 8th is Gordon, 9th is Terry Labonte, and 10th is Talladega. As we're back racing here at Martinsville, Dale Jr. is the only one on the outside that went, but it's not really going to matter because Dale Jr. is not leading this race. Junior will lead going into the first corner. However, the race leader is back here on the outside of Dale Jarrett. Zachary made a pretty good call there, going from the outside to the inside. He saw the gap was there in between Dale Jarrett and Steve Park, and he took it. So all these drivers, they've got 30-lap old tires, while Zachary has fresh tires. So the difference that's going to be made on these tires is going to be insane. So we're on board with Jeff Green, and now back to being on board with Dale Jarrett in the 88. With Zachary behind him. Zachary, he went to the inside of Dale Jarrett. He's 3 wide with Dale Jarrett and Jimmy Johnson. If anything happens here, caution might come out, and Zach's going to be a part of it. Oh, man, he went into the corner right to the inside of Rusty Wallace. So Zachary put 7th and 6th of Jeff Green and Jimmy Johnson a lap down. He's about to put 5th place Kurt Busch a lap down here soon, and he puts him a lap down, as now he's just got 3 more cars ahead of him to put a lap down, which is Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Gordon. And oh, contact between Kenseth and Tony. They catch the wall, and well, there goes 2. So now the only car on the lead lap is Dale Earnhardt Jr. up at the front. Zachary, he's just continuing his march forward. He got to the inside of Tony Raines, got around him. He's to the inside of Bobby Labonte, he'll get around him. He's going after Bill Elliott in the 9. He's gonna make quick, easy work of Bill Elliott. Now he's to the inside of Jeff Burton. Zachary's probably gonna try to put every single car a lap down. And if he does that, what a redemption story for Zach if he can pull it off. As right now he's stuck behind Ken Schrader in the 49 and Jeff Burton in the 99, who gets around Ken Schrader. A little bit of contact, not by much though. Not enough to spend the 40, not enough to send it, excuse me, the 49 spinning. But that will allow Zach to get around him. As now he's going to set his sights after Jeff Burton, which he's going to easily get around him. Got the Lightyear blimp cam going on. Tony Stewart's actually on pit road after that contact with Kenseth. That's going to take him outside of the top 5, even the top 10. There's a little bit of contact between him and Kyle Petty. He kind of sent it in a little bit, but he also didn't see Michael Waltrip there on the outside. Even though they made a little bit of contact, wasn't the worst. But he got Michael Waltrip a lap down, Kyle Petty a lap down. He's going to put Mike Wallace a lap down in the 09. Sorry for the mic movement as of recent. Kind of muted my mic a few laps ago, so just trying to make sure that everything is fine. It's back to the action. Zachary Smithley, excuse me, laps Johnny Benson, and now he's got the Winston Cup point leader Ryan Newman ahead of him, who he's about to put 2 laps down. And there goes Zach, putting Ryan Newman 2 laps down, or will he? As now, actually, Jay McMurray and John Andretti are actually fighting ahead of him. It don't matter. He's still going to put Newman a lap down. He put him a lap down mid-corner. Newman's trying to fight back a little bit, but there's not really much for Newman to gain out of this unless a caution comes out. But still, Zachary maintaining the lead. He's ahead of Jamie McMurray now. He lapped McMurray. Now he's setting his sights after Warburton in the 22. The only drivers left ahead of him are Warburton, Ricky Rudd, Joe Nemechek, Todd Bodine, Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. As now he laps Warburton. Now there's 6 more cars ahead of Zach to lap. And with 17 laps to go, anything could happen in these final 17 laps, but Zachary is making sure that nothing happens in these final 17 laps. And you see these 3 cars ahead, they're not Jeff and Terry can fight it out for position, but they're not on the lead lap. They're still a lap down. See Zach catching Ricky Rudd in the 21, who's fighting Joe Nemechek in 25. Nemechek trying to keep the position on Rudd, trying to maintain it. Looks like Rudd's going to get a nice run on the outside. Zachary's going to follow him on the outside. He's still going to go to the bottom. Looks like he's still going to go to the bottom. Zachary just trying to maybe, he might want to push Nemechek by the 21, or maybe just allow Rudd past the 21, or Rudd can go all the way to the outside, get into the marbles, dirt track it, and that'll allow Nemechek by and Zachary to the inside of Rudd. As now, there are 14 laps left. Zachary trying to get around Rudd, but he's going to go right to the inside of Nemechek, and he's going to go for the position. He's going to go right to the inside of Nemechek and try to put him a lap down. And there he goes. Nemechek is now 2 laps down. 3, I think. He's either 2 or 3 laps down. It's because he's still fighting Ricky Rudd in the 21. Now Zach is top of 9, Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. left. And Zachary is closing the gap on top of 9 on the 54. Zachary, like all race long, he's been able to wrap the bottom so much more better than these drivers have. And right there, in the middle of the corner, he gets a nice exit. He gets a nice roll through the corner, roll through the center to get the bite off and get a better run than these drivers can. Because now he only has 3 drivers left to put a lap down, and they're a little bit ahead, they're a little bit far ahead of Zach. But if we've been paying attention to Zach as of late, he's been able to run these guys down. Let's look a little bit farther back. Rusty Wallace has got some damage. Steve Park has some damage. Tony Stewart's just back there trying to make something out of this race after that contact between him and Kenseth, which was not good. As we head back to these 4 drivers, Zachary is managing to catch Terry Labonte. Even though Dale Jr. is coming to 10 to go, and Gordon and Labonte are coming to 12 to go, Zachary is coming at 9 to go. Or not 12 to go. They're coming to 11 to go, and Zach's at 9 to go. Terry's having a really good run. He needed a good run like this, and he's got it. We're going to pay attention to what Zach's going to do here. How's he going to set up the pass on Terry? Gets a nice run through 3 and 4. Immediately gets to the inside of him off of turn 4. And there he goes, right around the 5 of Terry Labonte. Now his team boss, Jeff Gordon, he may not want Zach to put him a lap down, but he also doesn't want to give Zach any hardship. But at the same time, his closest competitor is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in front of him. But Zach's just going to go to the inside and make it easier on himself with 7 to go. Going to put Jeff Gordon another lap down. And there he goes. Now he's got one more driver in Dale Earnhardt Jr. to lap, and he has lapped the entire field. A rookie will have lapped the entire field if he can pass Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the next 6 laps. Zach's able to maintain really good pace throughout this second stint. Ever since the caution. Gets a run on Dale Jr. He's going to jump to the inside. Gets to the bottom. Goes up the track a little bit. Doesn't make any contact, though, but off of 4, side by side. 5 laps to go. And as they enter turn 1, Zachary Smithley will put Dale Jr. a lap down. And now the entire field is 1 lap down to Zach. What a run for Zachary. Is now coming off of turn 4 and into the final 4 laps of this race. We said it before, but Zachary at the end of Talladega was super hard on himself. Zachary was quoted as saying that he failed his grandma and that he failed himself, his fans, and his family. He didn't even want to come to Martinsville with how disappointed he was. He thought that everybody was disappointed in him. But every fan, every driver, everybody in general went to Zach and they said, "You're not a failure. You did everything you could back at Talladega, and even though you didn't win the race, she's always happy with whatever result you gave." And that gave Zach the confidence to come to Martinsville and get some redemption. He put it on pole. He was the fastest in practice. He was the one to lap the entire field today and is still continuing to lap every single driver. And his domination is not over because Zachary can see the white flag one more time at Martinsville. Zachary wanted to hear this at Talladega, and even though it's 2 weeks later, it'll make it all the more better. Because 2 years and 2 weeks on from his grandmother's passing, career win number 2 comes at Martinsville. Zachary Smithley can enjoy this one forever. No tears of shame will be coming out of Zach's eyes. It's only going to be tears of joy. Zachary does what he wanted to do at Talladega, and he wins here at the Martinsville Speedway. What a redemption story, and what a redemption arc for the kid out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, burning it down to the start-finish line. As we take a look at the finishing results of today's race, Zachary Smithley gets the job done, leads every single lap, and wins, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishing in second, Jimmy Johnson third, Kenseth fourth, Green fifth, Kurt Busch sixth, Gordon seventh, Terry Labonte eighth, Ricky Rudd in ninth, and Ryan Newman 10th. You'd have Harvick at 11th, McMurray 12th, Jeff Burton 13th, Bobby Labonte 14th, Mike Waltrip 15th, Raines 16th, Elliott 17th, Marlin 18th, Biffle 19th, and Tony Stewart 20th. You have Jimmy Spencer 21st, Jamie Biffle 22nd, Nadu 23rd, Park 24th, Rusty Wallace 25th, Elliott Sadler 26th, Martin 27th, Bodine 28th, Nemechek 29th, and Andretti in 30th. Benson 31st, Mike Wallace 32nd, Warburn 33rd, Petty 34th, Schrader 35th, Blaney 36th, 34th, 37th, Wallace 38th, Mears 39th, and Mike Skinner 40th. We have Dale Jarrett 41st, Derek Cope 42nd, and Ricky Craven 43rd. What a race that we have witnessed today. And I don't think we've had this level of domination so far this season. And I don't think anybody expected a rookie to do this. But Zachary did it. And with that, we'll take a look at the updated point standings. So Ryan Newman will maintain the championship lead, now ahead of Zachary Smithley in second, followed by Ricky Rudd third, Jeff Gordon fourth, Johnson fifth, Kenseth sixth, Elliott seventh, Kurt Busch in eighth, Harvick in ninth, and Michael Waltrip still inside the top 10. Jeff Green in 11th, Jeff Burton 12th, Tony Stewart 13th, McMurray 14th, Jarrett 15th, Mayfield 16th, Sadler 17th, Bobby Labonte in 18th, Earnhardt Jr. 19th, and John Andretti in 20th. Mark Martin 21st, Wallace 22nd, Rusty Wallace 23rd, Biffle 24th, Raines in 25th, Benson 26th, Marlin 27th, Petty 28th, Craven 29th, and Park in 30th. And then got Labonte 31st, Nemechek 32nd, Bodine 33rd, Dave Blaney 34th, and Warburton 35th. And from 36th down to 53rd, we have the drivers that in the go home category, which are Nadu 36th, Mears 37th, Foyt 38th, Schrader 39th, and Robbie Gordon 40th. Then it's Spencer, Skinner, Sprague, Atwood, Mike Wallace, Earnhardt, Pruitt, Shelmerdine, Fittipaldi, Buckshot, Bodine, Sadler, and Derek Cope, rounding out the rest of the point standings. Well, after an amazing race here at Martinsville, and a shock win, and a shock domination by Zach, the next race, we head to SoCal for the Auto Club 500 at the California Speedway. We all love the California Speedway. We all love Auto Club. I don't know why they got rid of it. None of us know why they got rid of it. They got rid of it for some Amazon warehouses. But in this universe, Auto Club never dies. And we're going to head there for the 9th race of the season. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun one. But congratulations to Zachary Smithley on the win. Well-deserved. Well-earned. He gets his redemption. And that's all he ever wanted. And Zachary can call himself a race winner again. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time at Auto Club. Have a great day, everyone. I love y'all. And once more, congratulations to Zachary Smithley on the dub. I'll see you all in SoCal. Have a good rest of your week. Have a good rest of the week, everyone, and goodbye.